AmericanGold.com.
Hey, Larry Elder here. Thank you for listening to the Bucky Dillon Show, hosted by the Liberty Revolt and KHNC.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bucky Dillon Morning Show, our morning show, a collaborative between myself and the free-thinking, freedom-loving, free-spirited, free speech advocating patriot community right here in northern Colorado and tuning in worldwide on the radio broadcast 1360 KHNC, the roar of the Rockies. You can also catch the live stream on youtube.com/Liberty Revolt. I'm here with co-patriot Kevin. Let's test the audio. Kevin, are you with me today?
I think I am. I'm a big fan of all the free stuff, man. Can I just keep getting that free stuff? Give me some of that free college.
We're talking about free university, right? Education's important. Don't you care about the children? You must want children to have no future. If you disagree with having the taxpayers bail out the banks and universities that have been dishing out fraudulent educations for an entire generation. Do you hate the children, Kevin?
Absolutely. No one likes kids. I don't like kids. We don't want these kids to succeed, clearly, because I don't want college to be free. So I don't love anyone, I guess. No, we've been dealing with for a while now.
Unless they're students with questionable legal status here in the United States, in which case we absolutely need to pay for their doctorate in lesbian dance theory.
Yes. Yeah, no, our education system is a little bit messed up right now, especially when you look at K through 12. It's got problems where it just doesn't work. So, I mean, like, our public education system is completely... especially if you look at public school systems in urban areas, it is just an absolute terrible time. It's a dumpster fire, if you will. And then if you look at our college system, which doesn't suffer from the same issues, but it suffers from the affliction of being just insanely, outrageously expensive and very unnecessary for a lot of people who go. You know, we've got some serious issues with our education system right now. When we look at college, one of the biggest problems is the fact that since the 1970s, the price of college tuition has risen at about 800 to 1,200% the rate of inflation, and you know, it's only getting worse at this point.
Right. It feels like to me that this is one of those issues where a failing government policy gives birth to another government policy, which is also doomed to fail because you didn't deal with the root of the problem. You see, bailing out student loan debt does nothing to address the cost of universities. In fact, it incentivizes them to charge more.
Exactly.
Bernie Sanders
Absolutely.
has become very popular, proposing to make all public universities tuition free. Quote, that should be a right of all Americans, regardless of the income of their families. Which sounds nice, but let's put it in words a little less utopian and in words a little more pragmatic. His proposal is that any person should be able to go to any school for whatever they want without worrying about the cost, and the universities should have all the resources to provide that education, and the bill should be placed on the desk of the federal government that will then implement a tax plan to cover that cost and send out federal agents to enforce the collection of those taxes. Now, anyone who works and pays taxes can conduct that this plan might not be reasonable or a sustainable approach, and it doesn't really address the core problem. Why is college so expensive? in the first place? And why are there so many graduates failing to pay back these loans?
Well, the big issue comes from the fact that the federal government does protect student loan debt in cases of stuff like bankruptcy. So now you have a situation where the schools know, hey, no matter what we charge, they're never getting out of this debt. So let's charge more, and then that compounds with, increasing demand. One of the great things that the Democratic Party did, and the left side of basically what the cathedral did, was convince people that if you don't have a college education, you are not intelligent. And no one wants to be unintelligent. None of us want to be stupid. So, we go to college. And because we went to college, now we're smart. And when you have a Democratic Party telling you, hey, if you're smart, you do what we do. Listen to everything on the Democratic platform. It is all filled with appeals to authority, the climate change. Smart people believe in climate change. Smart people believe in universal health care. Smart people believe in this, right? So, you have this increasing demand by the university system, which acts as basically I don't want to say brainwashing, but it's almost like a brainwashing outlet for leftist ideas. You have universities wherein I believe the study showed that it's 40% of college universities thereabouts don't even have a registered Republican on their staff. So you wonder about the ideas that are getting taught to these kids, especially in non-STEM programs. As a current student, I can tell you, I have run into basically outright Marxists teaching political science classes and economy classes and stuff like that. So this is a multi-varied issue. There's multiple variables going into this issue, from demand, from federal government intervention, from nefarious tactics being used and being required to get kids into college.
Right. So guaranteeing taxpayers flip the bill does not incentivize universities to lower the cost of tuition. Quite the opposite, actually. And it does nothing to address the shocking number of students who are addressing unemployable, or often even less employable than they were before. But that being said, Bernie Sanders does dominate the conversation because, frankly, he's the only one talking about it. Republicans have just failed to speak, and it is a real issue. I'm going to get into some of the numbers in the second segment here. You're listening to the Bucky Dillon Morning Show, our morning show.
Are you paying too much for your home, life, or auto insurance? It only takes 10 minutes to find out. Hi, this is Kevin Bowles with Badger Insurance Advisors. Choosing insurance plans can be difficult. That's why I make it easy. I'll make the calls, compare the plans and prices, and find you the insurance plan that fits your needs. Best of all, my help is at no cost to you. Call me today at 303-359-1799 or visit badgerinsuranceadvisors.com. Let me find the right insurance for you.
It is not because men have made laws that life, liberty, and property exist. On the contrary, it is because life, liberty, and property existed beforehand that men made laws in the first place. What then is law? It is the collective organization of the individual right to lawful defense and punishing injustice. Frederick Bastiat, The Law.
Hey, it's Larry Elder. Thank you for listening to me every weekday from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on 1360 KHNC, the roar of the Rockies. Do you own a business in northern Colorado or surrounding areas? Are you looking to reach a conservative, family-based, loyal audience which could grow your business? Well, take my advice and just call 970-587-5003 or email ontheair@1360khnc.com and tell them Larry sent you.
This is Sam Shook, Navy Vet and Medicare Specialist. I just want to thank the KHNC listeners for their support and trust in me as their Medicare specialist. If you are currently on Plan F, we are in a window of opportunity that can save you a lot of money towards your monthly premium. Please contact me at 970-413-4939. If you are getting into Medicare soon or are already enrolled and have questions, please call me at 970-413-4939. Again, Thanks, KHNC listeners.
The Bucky Dillon Show is a Liberty Revolt Media production. www.libertyrevoltmedia.com.
Guys, on the website 1360 KHNC, we are now offering a tremendous deal on CBD products, a price you can't get anywhere else. Literally, you can't get it anywhere else. We have a great standing with the bank because through allamericangold.com, we have been making transactions for 3 decades almost, and have done millions of dollars in transactions. That by no means means that we're making millions in dollars. Our profit margins are very, 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 very slim because we have to be competitive. But you cannot get a better deal on CBD products than by ordering off our website. In fact, our supplier gives us a better deal than they sell the products themselves. So I'm going to give you guys just a small list of things that CBD helps with. Now, this is medically, scientifically proven. CBDs relieve arthritis pain. They relieve chronic pain. They reduce chronic nerve pain. They reduce inflammation. They reduce muscle spasms and other MS symptoms. Reduces chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting for cancer patients, may slow the growth of cancer cells, relieves anxiety and depression, relieves insomnia and improves sleep, helps treat acne and psoriasis, aids in nicotine and heroin addiction recovery by reducing withdrawal symptoms. And I mean, check it out, guys. I convinced my grandmother to try the CBD lotion. She works as a hair cutter. She has a little hair salon in her basement, and she's been standing on her feet my entire adult life. She's been all day long on her feet, holding her arms up in the air, using her hands. And she gets arthritis, she gets back pain, she gets hip pain, she gets, her feet hurt. She was hesitant because she thought that CBD was like going to turn her into like a stoner, right? She was going to be Shaggy Doo, just blitzed out of her mind like Godzilla. She's been seeing a chiropractor for like 25 years. I was like, Grandma, no, it's not going to get you stony baloney. Okay. She tried it. She said that using the CBD lotion helps with pain relief more than seeing a chiropractor and taking anti-inflammatories for the last 25 years. And it's healthy for you. Anti-inflammatories, they're bad for your liver. Your body actually has specific CBD receptors. I use it for sleep because I am a notoriously bad sleeper, especially trying to get up at 3:30 in the morning now. It helps me a lot with sleep. It also helps me with muscle aches and joint aches. I like to lift weights, and I go pretty hard sometimes. So, I like to use it for that. But guys, seriously, if you've been watching the news cycle and you're stressed out, you're not sleeping well, you're depressed, CBD can help with all of it. And like I said, you cannot get a better deal. 1360khnc.com. It would help us out. It would help support the show, and it's great for you as well. Can't be any more excited about it, truly. So, Republicans have just failed to talk about student loan debt, and the issue keeps coming up. Why does it keep coming up? Well, the Federal Reserve estimated in June of 2019 that the nation's overall student debt was quickly approaching 1.6 trillion, held by 43 million Americans, or 1 in 6 adults. The student debt averages around $34,000 per student. To put that in perspective, the entire GDP, the entire wealth of the country of Turkey is 1.36 trillion. The British Empire at its peak in 1938 had a GDP of 683 billion. China's last imperial dynasty, the 5th largest empire ever, the Qin dynasty, the Qin Empire, was worth 247.2 billion. Our student loan debt is 1.6 trillion. Okay? About 40% of these people in debt aren't making payments. 41% of graduates are working jobs that don't require a degree. 5% of graduates are totally unemployed. The unemployment rate for young college graduates actually exceeds that of the general population. But almost 40% of all student loans are federally guaranteed, which is to say that taxpayers pay back the bank regardless of the ability of the students to pay them back, which creates a perverse incentive in which neither the banks nor the universities are accountable to the education they're getting their children. Right? There used to be a time when if a young person or whoever wanted to go to school, they would go to the bank and they would say, I would like to take out a debt for student loans. All right. I would like to take out a student loan so I could go to school. And the banks would say, okay, what is your educational history so we can see if you're a good student, and what are you planning to go to school for so we can compare that with, are there job opportunities in that field, and are you likely going to be able to pay back your student debt? Well, since the government guarantees the loans no matter what, they don't have to worry about it. They say, oh, lesbian dance theory, you're going to be unemployed, but okay, we'll give you $100,000 with a little bit of interest on top, and good luck to you. And the universities are the same thing. They don't have any stake in the financial success of their students. And that's why they're able to just push this revolutionary Marxist nonsense. And they don't have to worry about if it does anything good for society, if it does anything good for the economy, or if it does any good for the student.
Nope. And you actually touched on a really good issue there. So 1 in 6 adults has student loan debt, but that means 5 out of 6 don't. And of those 5 out of 6, they either paid off their student loan debt because they decided to get a degree that was going to pay money, or they decided that they were going to go into a job field that didn't require a college education to begin with. So they never had to worry about paying that money. And at the end of the day, we have a situation where kids are convinced you must have a college degree, even if it is in anthropology, even if it is just a psychology degree. Psychology degree, for example, not a bad idea if you're planning on going in for a doctorate, but if you're just going to college to get a degree, psychology degree is not going to do anything for you moving forward. So you have, especially in the liberal arts part of your colleges, so many useless degrees being propped up because of this idea that if you don't have a degree, you're not going to do anything. Look, a college education is supposed to be an investment, right? If I take on $100,000 in student loan debt, it's because I believe that over time, this degree is going to add well over $100,000 to my value, to the amount of money I bring in. Personally, for example, I'm currently working on 2 degrees now. I'm personally on the GI Bill, but say I wasn't on the GI Bill, I'm going for a philosophy and a political science degree. I'm also planning on becoming a lawyer after this. So I am going to school and paying all this money to go into a job that is going to end up paying more. It's supposed to be an investment. And if it's supposed to be an investment, then you're only supposed to be going into it if you think it's going to make you money. Now, if you go into these terrible degree fields and then complain because your jobs aren't paying enough on the other end, it's not the taxpayer that should be blamed. It's you for not taking the time to think, what kind of jobs is an anthropology degree going to be able to get me when I'm on the outside, and is it going to be worth it? If the answer is no, don't get the degree. But too many kids these days are like, well, I was told I had to do it and it was a bad idea, so can you pay it for me since it's not actually paying itself off? Could you pay for my degree now? No. You made this decision. You have to deal with it. And that is where the problem is for Republicans, because it's 2 separate mindsets. One, college or education should be a right. Everybody has a right to get it. And 2, education is an investment, and that does not mean that everyone has a right to get it, and therefore it shouldn't be paid for.
Right. The incentives on the part of the banks and universities is to get as many people, as many students, and as much debt as possible and out the door as quickly as possible without any regards to the future economic success of those students, and let the taxpayers and the broader society just pay for the consequences. So check it out. The federal government began guaranteeing student loans provided by the banks and nonprofit lenders in 1965, creating a program that is now called the Federal Family Education Loan Program. Since the 1970s, tuition costs have risen at triple the rate of inflation, but Obamacare doubled down. The Affordable Care Act's passage in 2010 was a Healthcare and Education Reconciliation Act signed into law just 7 days after Obamacare. Title II of the act overhauled the country's student loan industry, radically replacing federally backed bank loans with direct government lending. The average tuition at a 4-year private college rose 30% from 1995 to 2012. After the act was signed in 2010, in the following 4 years alone, it spiked another 12%. Right? It rose triple the rate of inflation since 1970s. Then in between 1995 and 2012, rose another 30%.
Wait.
And then in 4 years following 2010, it rose another 12%.
Wait. So you're telling me that the government got involved and things got worse? No, dude, that can't be true.
No, man, hey, don't talk about the government like that. Those are public
that can't
servants.
Possibly be true.
Those are public servants, sir.
The government is our savior. We need to rely on the government for everything. Yeah,
the government is the only thing we have in common anymore, Kevin. Don't you know? That's what they said.
Oh my gosh.
You don't need God. You have the Democrats.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, you don't need God. You have the government, and if that isn't cultural Marxist tactics 101, I don't know what is. But yeah, no, it just all comes down because like you just have to ask the question, why has college become so important? And a big part of it is that the cathedral, all these entertainment industries, exactly, has absolute control over it.
Yeah,
so
did you hear what I just said? The government started directly giving loans. So the government is now making a tremendous amount of money by telling people to go to school and getting paid off the interest on the loans. And those loans are guaranteed because the taxpayers flip the bill when the government gives out the loans. The government doesn't have money, guys.
But you have to go into it a little bit deeper. You have to ask the question of why. And this is just a warning to all you parents out there that have kids that are trying to go to college. You have to ask why. And the answer to why is because the universities provide such an unobstructed avenue to teach basically impart upon your children beliefs that you as a parent never would. That's why, you have the conservative parent talking about their naive child going to college and coming back as super liberal. It's because when they go into that college classroom, all of a sudden there is nothing between the teacher and the student to tell them why, to give them counterpoints in class. You never, if I, the classes that I take now, if I'm not the one providing the counterpoints against the teachers, and I've had outright Marxist teachers, if I'm not the one that's providing the counters in class, no one else is. And it's because there is nothing between the student and the teacher to stop them from just basically teaching them whatever the heck they want in class.
Right, and because the teachers are so far on the left, so commonly, people who are, students who do have a little bit of common sense and an understanding of what the problems are afraid to speak, because if they speak, their teacher might dock their grade because they don't like their ideological frame, right? So the New York Federal Reserve Bank reported in 2015 that the downstream effect of subsidized federal student loans on tuition raised rates by 60 cents on the dollar. And now progressives like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas see this massive government failure and think that's an excuse for more government control and a taxpayer-funded bailout. The Bucky Dillon Morning Show, 1360 KHNC.
Hi, everyone. This is Leah. Join me Monday through Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. for Leah Live, right here on 1360 KHNC. I'll look forward to it.
1360 KHNC is proud to announce our partnership with My Kind CBD, a local Colorado-based company that has no herbicides, completely organic, no heavy metals. All their products are CAO certified. That's right, independently lab certified. Our prices are the best in the country. Go out to 1360khnc.com and hit the shopping cart button and make your purchase today.
Hi, KHNC listeners. Jerry Axum, real estate agent with Sears Real Estate. Established in 1972, locally owned, and our office is in Greeley. Growing up in Greeley, I am very familiar with the community and surrounding towns. I'd like to talk to you about your real estate questions, needs, or wants. Jerry Axum, 970-576-1089, 576-1089, or Jerry at SearsRealEstate.com.
Hi, this is Taylor Grant. I'm a certified personal trainer with the National Academy of Sports Medicine and a longtime competing strongman athlete. I've recently opened a gym here in Loveland, Colorado. The address is 1339 South Garfield Avenue, right next to the Furniture and Decor store. I offer all kinds of services for athletes or people just looking to get in better shape. I coach strongman, powerlifting, general fitness and training, and I work with people with all kinds of injuries as well. I am a private gym, so if you are interested in scheduling a session, please give me a call at 970-402-1330. Once again, that's 970-402-1330, or shoot me an email, and that's at grantperformance1@gmail.com. That's GRANT performance1@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to 1360 KHNC.
The roar of the Rockies. The Patriot Trading Group is a different kind of gold and silver company, cleaning up the industry for 21 years. Are you tired of the high-pressured sales tactics, the constant phone calls? Are you done with the bait and switch? You just want to be treated fairly with honesty and respect? That's exactly what you get when you call 800-951-0592. You have my word on it. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Check us out online at allamericangold.com.
Hi, folks. This is Terry V. Tune in every Saturday at 2 p.m. to my new show, Terry's Views of the News. The show is about current politics. It's a hard-hitting, truth-seeking, conservative view show. So tune in on Saturday at 2 p.m. You'll be glad you did.
Great minds think alike. Thank you for listening to the Bucky Dillon Show, hosted by the Liberty Revolt. Join me, Larry Elder, today at 5 on 1360 KHNC. Now back to Bucky Dillon.
So, student loans have gotten more and more expensive. University has gotten more and more expensive. The banks are giving out student loans totally recklessly. The federal government is guaranteeing them, and so that has meant the banks and the universities have no accountability. They have no financial stake in the economic success of their students. They don't care what they go to school for and whether or not that's going to be good for our economy or whether there's even job opportunities at the end of their schooling. But it gets worse. Not only are universities not accountable for failing students with fraudulent educations, they are enriching themselves tax exempt in the process. Remember what I said earlier. In the tax exempt endowments of 4 schools alone, Harvard, Princeton, Stanford, and Yale, they have tax exempt endowments of $1.25 billion or trillion dollars, excuse me, $1.25 trillion sitting tax exempt, collecting 12% capital gains year after year. The entire student loan debt is about 1.6 trillion, right? So, I mean, there's Just in those 4 schools, there's enough to pay for the debt right there. They're enriching themselves in the process.
Yep.
According to the IRS, the vast majority of private and public universities and colleges are tax-exempt entities as defined by IRC Section 501c3 because of their educational purposes that the federal government has long recognized as fundamental to fostering the productive and civic capacity of its systems. I would contest they're doing an abysmal job of that. However, it's not just that. Football ticket sales, concerts, and other events that have absolutely nothing to do with education, totally tax exempt, right? If you want to put on a concert, do it on a college campus, right? All activities that in any way are designed to bring in revenue are tax exempt. Income from any and all activities that can be considered related to the purpose of the institution's tax exemption, charitable contributions received, and investment income are not subject to federal income tax. This includes private Ivy League schools, which receive all of the tax-exempt privileges of public universities. No property taxes or taxes on tuitions, sponsorships, donations, or the capital gains 12%. And on top of that, universities receive a tremendous amount of government subsidies. In all, federal spending on major higher ed programs reached $74.8 billion in 2017, though that figure excludes student loans and tax deductions, while states spent $87.1 billion. They rely on public funding through the federal government or the state for about a third of their budgets. Rutgers University has about 70,000 students per year, paying an average of $26,000, including $2,000 on required books. Now, do you guys remember when AOC was grilling military contractors for them charging $1,200 for non-vehicular clutch discs that costed $32 to produce? I loved it. I love seeing AOC get up there and stick it to them because I hate wasteful government spending. I wish she would do it more often. But is she going to do that in the schools? Absolutely not, because they're indoctrinating children to go along with her ideology, right? She's never going to grill a university administrator for charging $2,000 for a frickin' book, okay? Harvard's endowment, $40.9 billion, is comparable to the 103rd largest economy in the world. It's comparable to the entire economy of Jamaica, Trinidad, or the Dominican Republic. That's more than the wealth of 1/3 of the world's countries, tax exempt, just sitting there with compounding interest year after year. It could pay the $50,000 tuition for its 6,000 students for 137 years without receiving another penny. And where do you think the money's gone? Has it gone to the professors? No, it hasn't. In 2011, 42 private college and university presidents received salaries more than $1 million. Robert Zimmer at the University of Chicago was a top earner, making $3,358,723. In 2012 to 2013, 9 top administrators made more than $1 million each at public colleges and universities. The top administrator at Ohio State University brought in $6 million more than, right? And the number of campus
technically,
administrators.
wasn't that their football coach?
A top administrator. It could be their football coach. It just says a top administrator here.
Is the most wealthy or the most expensive person at university in California is UCLA's head basketball coach. He's the highest paid. But that's a problem when you have public universities paying football coaches millions upon millions upon millions of dollars a year. If you look at how much is going into these sports programs as well, a lot of them, like,
right.
There's a lot of money going down the drain there.
And the exploding incomes of these campus administrators is paralleled only by the increase in the amount of them, right? Between 1993 and 2009, administration positions rose by 60%, 10 times the rate of growth of the faculty itself. 10 times. For every new professor, they're hiring 10 administrators, and they're all making this money.
Yep, you got your,
and the luxuries don't stop there. It doesn't just stop at the money they receive for that. You would think that $6 million to coach football team would be enough, right? They receive free luxury cars, food allowances, often topping $100,000 a year, country club memberships, free university housing or housing allowances. The chancellor of the City University of New York, James Milliken, lives in an $18,000 per month luxury apartment on Manhattan's posh Upper East Side, paid for by the university.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
Why do you think
but
university is so expensive?
You also got to look at the fact that it's when they talk admin, they're not just talking about your upper level deans. They're talking about these new racial inclusion centers and these new diversity centers and all these other things that are going into it too. So it's the amount of bloat that has gone into universities over the last couple decades has just been ridiculous. Because universities are no longer just places of education, they're places for lifestyles basically. So now they're paying for administration, they're paying for, all these services for kids that don't matter. Like if you look at LSU is a good example. They've built like water parks and bowling alleys for their students. It's like, these are not things that should be, your tuition dollars are going to these things, but they're not things that have anything to do with your tuition, right? And it's just the unmitigated bloat that has just become commonplace at universities.
This is the Bucky Dillon Morning Show, our morning show. Guys, we have ideas to change. So in this last couple of breaks, we're going to try to talk about reform.
Hi, I'm Dr. Anita Chandra with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Choosing high-quality childcare is an important decision. Here are a few things to look for: positive relationships between teachers and children, time for children to play, clear health and safety policies, and good ways to keep you informed of your child's day. Finally, make sure you visit where your child will spend their day and meet all of the staff. For checklists to help make your decision, visit healthychildren.org.
Hi, this is Mike Morris, owner of Warriors Revolution Tactical in Longmont. At Warriors Revolution, we have the largest selection of tactical gear and ammo in northern Colorado. But what many people may not know is that we now sell firearms. And even despite the recent run on firearms and ammunition, we have plenty of product in the store, including ARs, AKs, Glocks, SIGs, HK, and more. And don't forget all the bulk ammunition at the best prices in town. Need to do a private firearms transfer? We can do that too. I am a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, and our team is made up of veterans and security experts, not a bunch of salesmen. Our team is trained and fought with much of the actual equipment we sell. And one thing you should know is that we support the foundations and principles this great country was founded upon. So if you need tactical gear, ammo, firearms, AR parts or upgrades, and even survival accessories, stop by and visit us on Ken Pratt Boulevard and Bowen Street in Longmont, or visit warriorsrevolution.com. That's warriorsrevolution.com.
Did the fire marshal take one look down your driveway and say, my guys aren't going down there? Or are there parts of it that just need a little more sun? Then call Affordable Tree at 970-568-6898. We can climb, cut, or trim your problems away, specializing in defensive space, upper and lower fire mitigation, forest health, plus we can save freshly hit beetle trees. So call us at 568-6898. 568-6898.
欢迎收听 KHNC 广播电台 Bucky Dillon 早安秀，大家的早安广播，谢谢。
Right, so you were talking about how much money they're using this state funding on frivolous crap.
Yep.
Last year, California State University Board of Trustees agreed to issue $310 million in revenue bonds to fund the new stadium construction. But at least that might eventually pay for itself. The administrative costs and expansions at universities will shock you. It's shocking.
Yeah, no, the amount, so let's put it this way. Colorado State, you want to take a wild guess what Colorado State's yearly operating budget is?
Gosh, I don't know. A couple billion?
It's $1.2 billion per year, which is utterly insane. And a lot of that goes to administrative bloat and just the random services like rec centers and stuff. Like, why does Colorado State need to offer me a rec center when we have gyms and stuff throughout the city? There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason why I should be paying for a rec center, and why students, I would say probably 90% of the students that go to CSU never go to the rec center one time, yet they're going to be paying for it the entire time they're there. You have tons of concerts and stuff, and I get it. You want to help these kids live, but at the same time, it's if you're going to be charging the students for these things, then maybe you shouldn't have them. But at the end of the day, the big issue comes from the fact that we have just created the society where we are convinced that if kids don't go to college, they are going to do nothing, or at least a lot of people are. So if we ever want to fix this, we need to cut down on the demand, tell kids, hey, what is it you want to do? Oh, you want to make money? Are you willing to work with your hands to do it? Yeah? Okay. Go to vocational school. Go to vocational training. You'll end up making more money than you would going and getting an anthropology degree or a psychology degree or a sociology degree or any other number of degrees by themselves.
Right. Well, hang on. Before we move on to the civic and social failures of our policies, I just want to say one thing. When they're putting new businesses or new buildings on the campus, right?
Yeah.
The administrators get to make little insider deals with their which construction company do you think gets the contract to build that stadium? It's their friends.
Whoever's most connected with the president. Yep.
Right. Not whatever's most cost effective. Right. So these construction companies, these coffee shops, right? Starbucks pays college administrators tons of money for exclusive rights to operate a coffee shop on the campus. Right. So you have all these big business corporate lobbyists essentially lobbying college administrators for exclusive business rights on the campus, because on the campus the administrators get to decide if your coffee shop gets to open, or if their friend's coffee shop gets to open, or if this big Starbucks group that is going to offer them $1 million a year gets to open. Right. So there's this whole, the left is always talking about how evil insider dealings and corrupt capitalism and monopolies are, right? Nowhere does that happen more often than on college campuses. Seriously.
Yep. And, it's this gross situation where it's just this entire apparatus of people preying on young, naive college students, knowing full well, they don't fully understand what it is they're taking on. They don't fully understand the debt they're taking on. They have no idea how useless the degree they're going to try to pursue is. Now, if you're going for STEM, so you could be, engineering or something like that, or you're going to be a doctor, or you're going to be a lawyer, something like that, then absolutely go to college. But if your only reason for going to college is I was told I had to, don't go to college. At least don't go right away. Take some time off before you make that decision. Like I joined the Army rather than going straight to college. I think it was a great decision. But
I think
a lot of kids don't.
Step one to abolishing some of these ridiculous social justice classes, all of these gender studies, ethnic studies, multicultural and diversity studies, and other social justice stuff, which are accomplishing nothing, by the way, but to strain social cohesion and produce unemployable miserable, bitter, postmodern, Marxist, revolutionary activists, right? But I mean, that's a whole other tragedy, right? That's a whole other tragedy. We have to make the schools and the banks accountable for the educations they're giving these children, right? By making them financially accountable. So number one, I propose we do away with federally backed loans. Immediately, universities will lower their costs and start firing administrators.
Jerry Nadler and Elizabeth Warren actually have proposed a bill that would make it so that student loans are also qualify under bankruptcy. They're classified similar to other styles of loans, which would achieve that. It's a bill that's currently being discussed in the House and the Senate right now. That step, you are correct 100%. That is step one. And there are people within our government that are trying to make that stand. Now, those two names I just gave you, though, are Jerry Nadler and Elizabeth Warren. What is the big elephant in the room? Well, they're Democrats. So let's see how many Republicans are able to sign on to this legislation, which, guys, conservatives listening right now, this is good legislation. This is something that Republicans need to be able to hop on. This is the kind of bipartisan stuff that needs to be taking place in the halls of our government right now to actually alleviate some of these issues. So this bill, I forget what it's called. I think it's called like the Consumer Bankruptcy Reform Act of 2020, sponsored by Jerry Nadler and Elizabeth Warren, would actually accomplish that right there.
Right. So I think that's a pretty good idea. I think as far as student loan forgiveness, we should impose a tax on the endowments of these universities. And we should impose a tax on the administrators and other non-essential university positions to help pay for the fraudulent educations they've been giving. Final
Taxes
segment
just
coming
pass
up.
the expenses onto the people.
We'll address it when we come back from the break. Final segment coming up. We will only have a couple minutes. We'll try.
Are you paying too much for your home, life, or auto insurance? It only takes 10 minutes to find out. Hi, this is Kevin Bowles with Badger Insurance Advisors. Choosing insurance plans can be difficult. That's why I make it easy. I'll make the calls, compare the plans and prices, and find you the insurance plan that fits your needs. Best of all, my help is at no cost to you. Call me today at 303-359-1799 or visit badgerinsuranceadvisors.com. Let me find the right insurance for you.
Hi, folks. I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham & Associates, LLC. I know it must seem like there's a million realtors out there making all kinds of promises. Want to hear my big marketing promise? I promise honest and fair dealings with all those I do business with. That may sound old-fashioned, and it is not very catchy, but it is true. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Farm, land, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings. When you work with my team, we'll get the right property for you and be upfront and honest with you every step of the way. Over the years, my clients have told me just that fact alone separates us from others in the industry. If you are considering buying or selling real estate, call me, James Morgan, at 720-203-0731 or visit my website at coloradoproperties.online. No catchy slogan, just a client-first, honest real estate experience. Hit it, girls.
Keep listening to the American Freedom Network.
1360khnc.com has CBD products. Click on the shop button and get yours today.
Just go to 1360khnc.com/shop. The CBD on our website is 99% pure, all natural, no pesticides, non-GMO, is grown organically right here in Colorado, and is 100% THC free. Oh, and did you know ours is the lowest price CBD anywhere in Northern Colorado? For all your CBD needs, just log on to 1360khnc.com/shop.
All of the music for the Bucky Dillon Morning Show was provided by my band, Beer for Bears. Find us on social media by looking for Beer for Bears.
So you said that typically taxes just get passed right back down onto the people. I think this situation would be different in the sense that if you get rid of the federally backed student loan guarantees, they're going to have to drop their prices. They're going to have to drop some of the BS classes. They're going to have to drop the pay of the administrations. I think I would agree with you in almost every other circumstance. I think this is one of the situations where even if it did make a little bit of a difference, they're going to be so devastated by the lack of federally guaranteed loans. But how are you going to do? I mean, now that the government is giving loans itself, it's making so much money off these fraudulent educations that the government itself doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think you're right for the situation.
So as we talked about, right, there's an obvious mismatch between the degrees that students are graduating with and new job openings in the market. This country is not alone in that it has massive shortage and incredible demand for skilled trades that actually don't require a degree. And the high-end tech graduates are frequently being taught curriculum that is obsolete by the time they graduate. Many courses in computer sciences are obsolete within like 3 years, right? So companies like Boeing, Google, IBM, Netflix, Apple, and Tesla are spending millions to, like, quote, re-educate, I suppose, not in the way that Democrats want to re-educate Trump supporters, but in a different way. They're paying millions of dollars to re-educate people after they've gone to school because their computer science classes are totally obsolete. Our universities cannot keep up with the pace of innovations, basically because there's so many administrators and so much bureaucracy that it takes like 4 years to approve a new curriculum. And in 3 years, the demands for students in those fields have already changed with the innovations, right? So now we're in a situation they've just decided to start their own universities, right? There's a university owned by McDonald's called Hamburger University.
Okay, I want to go to Hamburger University.
I kind of do too, man. Hey, look, it looks like a nice building here, right? I'm looking at a photo. That's a nice building, right? But our accrediting system has massive flaws that no amount of student debt relief can overcome, right? If we don't fix the failures of the courses themselves, then it doesn't matter if you make them cheaper or you forgive student loan debt or anything else. The universities will still be obsolete. It'll still be a total waste of money. So instead of federally financing bureaucrats to handle accreditation in cooperation with the universities, often, the for-profits of federal lenders and universities administrators, by the way, they're just getting rich, right? We could decouple these. We could let businesses get more involved, right? Like imagine if Boeing was putting their personal seal of approval on not just schools, but on individual courses in like the aerosciences, right? If Boeing said, we will hire students who take this course at this university for this, and this is, they will make this many $1 million a year, right? That would totally change which classes get promoted, which classes students take. Because if Boeing was out there and saying, hey, go to CSU for this class, you will make millions. Guys, people are buying homes at the lowest rate. Young people are buying homes at the lowest rate ever. They're not having children. They're not moving out of their parents' houses. We have to talk about university reform. Thanks for hanging out. This has been the Bucky Dillon Morning Show. If you want to support the show, check out 1360khnc.com/shop and check out the CBD products.
Thanks for having
This
me.
is Bob Benyard with Colorado Rights Alive. Please work to abolish abortion, but reject all so-called pro-life efforts to regulate child killing. Even on the surface, regulations undermine the very concept of the right to life, and they convince even our own judges, tragically, that the fetus they consent to killing must not be a real child. See AmericanRTL.org/regulations for more.
Higher rates, lower rates, negative rates, bail-ins, bailouts, and so much more. You know why you need to own gold and silver. At the Patriot Trading Group, we're a different kind of company. We have no commission salespeople, No boiler room sales calls, no high-priced spokesman. We believe in treating you with honesty and respect and delivering you the best products at the best price. Buying or selling, call us at 800-951-0592 or go to our website at allamericangold.com.